Here at Revision Marketing Group, our team of young professionals get it. Created with youth in mind, we strive to educate, inspire, and promote authentic creativity across all job fields. This is Young Creatives.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Young Creatives podcast. My name is Mikayla Anderson again. I want to introduce you guys to a very special friend that I actually met through networking at Shreveport Bossier. This is Joshua Warren.
Hey.
And I actually met him through B&I, which, do you want us to tell us a little bit about yourself and what that is?
I am a guy that owns a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and I'm in a B&I group. So what B&I is, and I'm going to be really vague and not tell you guys what I do until I tell you what B&I is first. So what B&I is it's a networking group. It's a business networking group. Literally stands for Business Networking International. With that being said, you have in each chapter, you have chapters all over the world, which is awesome in and of itself. And you can refer people from chapter to chapter, outside chapters, inside chapters, whatever you want to do where that's concerned. But specifically, within most major cities, you have B&I groups. And groups, like you have multiple. So like even a town like Shreveport Bossier where we have roughly, I mean, if you're counting both the parishes, I think we have roughly 350 to 400,000 people in this part of Louisiana. So with that, again, with that being said, we have, I think, 4 chapters right now. Mm-hmm. So the potential for growth with really any kind of business is like astronomical. Right. Whenever you think about the fact that the rules in B&I, especially within chapters, not especially, but this is always how it is within chapters, you can only one business is represented, one type of business is represented per chapter. So I do photo and video, and for business to business and personal weddings, all that kind of stuff. But I have the video seat, and there's actually a woman in there that has a photo seat. And even though I do photo, the cool thing is that me and her can collaborate. And, say if she has it. We did an event the other day. Her name's Jen Wasserman. And she got way more skin in the game than I do. She's been doing it over 20 years. So, I mean, there's a lot I can learn from her. So that's cool in and of itself. But, I was honored for her to feel like I was competent enough to bring me on and second shoot an event that she did for the 8th Air Force, in which I actually got to meet Drew Brees.
Okay.
That was cool. But long story short, that's just an example of we have a video seat. That's me, a photography seat. We have a graphic design seat, which isn't filled.
Yep.
She does graphic design. And we have a marketing seat. There's a guy that does marketing, DJ Thomas with Hemingway West. We have a plumber. We have a seat for an electrician, but we don't have an electrician. You get what I'm saying. Chiropractor, health.
Literally anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Like, my girlfriend, she does tattoos. And I was like, can she be in the group? They're like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, maybe like if you're a bounty hunter, maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
Street pharmacist might not cut it.
Oh.
But,
No,
yeah, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, you feel me?
No, that's super cool. And I think even outside of, business networking, just, I only went once, and this is how I met Josh. And so even, going there and knowing, I need all of these repairs to my home and all these other things, I've been looking for people because I'm new. I say new to the area. I've been here for over a year now, but that's still pretty new.
Yeah, you're pretty, yeah.
And so I, even just going and, meeting other people was, huge.
Yeah. Well, how many B&I groups did you go to? I'm asking you the questions now.
That's the first one I went to.
Okay. I think you told me that, but I just want to be sure. So have you gone to any other ones?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
We're the best group. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
You can say that.
My president might get mad at me. I don't know. We're the best group. I'm just going to say it. We're the best group. Whatever. But, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But anyway.
I had a great time there. But So you told us about B&I. Tell me more about yourself. What do you do? Who is Josh Warren? I know you do photo and video, but
well, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I'm 27. I'm going to be 28 next month. So, you know, I told a guy, I did a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I told a guy, I was like, I got busy quick. Like, when I got out of high school, I got busy quick. And really what I wanted to do was party and play music. So I did that. You know, I didn't start playing guitar until I was 17. And then within a couple of years, I was already like playing shows and doing stuff, which playing shows, you're playing in college towns in Louisiana. You're good. I was good enough to play in bars. Put it like that.
That's still good, though.
That's good. But, you know, that was something that, you know, I still like doing to this day. It's a hobby. But I figured out, like, that wasn't really the route that I wanted to go. I've always loved music. I've always been passionate about it. But what sent me to I ended up going to BIPSI and getting my associates in mass comm. And what I was doing originally was sound recording. So I was like, well, if I'm not going to play music, I want to be able to record people. And then I'm like, it's helped tremendously. I'll put it like that. That aspect of things has helped tremendously. And like you're saying, who am I? That is definitely a huge part of who I am because really I would say what got me into media is music, like without a doubt. Because even as a little kid, I remember like I would make up songs in my head and I would think to myself that, I mean, I thought that was normal. Like people will get other people's songs stuck in their head, but I didn't know that it was out of the ordinary to be able to like compose songs in your head. Like, and just have them playing in your head, and then I would sing them or whistle them or whatever. Which, like, my parents were like, you should probably play an instrument, which I wanted to play football. And that's going back further. I wanted to play football, which was stupid because I've had countless concussions. I didn't even play all 4 years of high school. I played my freshman and senior year. I took 2 years off. And, like, I mean, concussions, man. Plenty of them. But, I mean, that's most dudes that play football. That's a thing, though. Like, we have short-term memory loss because,
You've had all these concussions.
Yeah, it's stupid. And, like, I love the sport, but, like, it's just one of those things to me. It's like even the guys that go make millions of dollars doing it, like, they wrestle with whether or not it was worth how decrepit they become as older men. It's like, I don't know. I'm glad I stopped doing that, and I'm glad I picked up the artistic stuff because without me getting into music, I don't think I really start showing an interest in doing music videos. And that was really like where it began. I started taking photos, and then I had a buddy that was rapping, and I was like, man, like, I really want to start getting into doing music videos. Like, let me do a video for you because I was taking film electives in college, and it was I think it was just creative filmmaking. That was just the name of the class. So we did multiple things. Like we did like a silent film, we did a sequence shot film, and then you could do one that was I think there was like 4 projects, but the last one for sure, your final was whatever you wanted to do. It just couldn't be feature length. That was the only thing. You couldn't go in hell. We wouldn't have had time to do it anyway.
Right.
You couldn't make like a 2-hour film. But I made a music video for a dude, and whose name is Menace Life. That's his rap name. I won't tell you his government name because he'll get mad if I say it on a public forum. But that's another guy too. That's another guy too I've known since I was like 12. Really. I was 12 and he was 13. We had gym class together in middle school.
That's so cool.
Best connections, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's, me and him still hang out all the time, and I'll still do work for him and stuff like that too. So yeah, essentially, like, I've always been really into art. I do like sports. I kind of got into martial art. I was into martial arts really young, and then like I got back into it recently, and I mean, it's cool. I have to kind of gauge, though, like, what's most important to me and how I make money, obviously, is doing photo and video.
Right.
So, I have to look at those kinds of things, too. It's like I had this kind of extreme mindset of, like, even with me doing jiu-jitsu, I I didn't have a good relationship with doing jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu, but it was like I would, I'd sprain my wrist, I'd sprain my elbow, I'd, or whatever. Like I'd mess my knee up or twist my ankle, or, I'd, put a crick in my own neck from like the way I roll and all that kind of stuff. It's a very brutal sport, not unlike football. And like what I have to realize is like anything I do like that, and really anything I do in life, I do in a very extreme, like I'm all in like that. If that's what I'm doing, that's what I want to do. And there are some things though that's like, okay, jiu-jitsu is not going to make me money unless I do it for 20 years and then I open a school, in which you can make really good money in that business. But I don't really want to do that for the rest of my life. I casually enjoy it.
Right.
And I think a big thing for me is like, I do have to learn how to casually enjoy things, in order to keep my main focus on what it is. And specifically for me, I have no issue being both feet in doing my job because I've seen a lot of success doing it. Mm-hmm. So really to wrap it all up, in terms of like who I am, I'm really an artsy individual. I'm very passionate, like extremely passionate individual, almost to a fault at times. And that's really gist of it. It's just like it's art and being passionate about it, which has created this business,
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And so like I know with what you talked about with like art, you said it started primarily with music videos. Mm-hmm. And so like I know we talked about this at Rhino too, but when you were working in a kitchen, how did you like tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go into video and photo full time? And like, what was the turning page?
I've done so many things that I did. Just in all of that, what I just said, I didn't even mention the fact that I worked in a kitchen. So I was a cook. Well, when I was 17, 18, when I was 17, I was a server. By the time I was like 17, when I was playing in bands, and then I got to be like 22, and then I worked retail for a little bit, and I got right back in the kitchen. Like it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't really a long time. It didn't take me very long to just jump right back into it because I really do love, I love Anthony Bourdain. And if you look at like myself, there's a lot of aspects of me in which I have kind of modeled some of my thought processes off of his. From a fundamental standpoint, there are a lot of things I don't agree with him on, even though, much respect to him, whether or not he's passed away, but I would still have that reverence toward him if he was in the room. But it's, he had more of a cynical viewpoint.
Oh, for sure.
Of a lot of things. And at the same time, he had a very beautiful way of looking at a lot of things too, though. He had a very, like, how do I put it? I truly believe that he did try to see the best in people, given all of his shows and all the stuff throughout the years, but he influenced me a lot. So long story short with that, I end up in the kitchen. I'm like, I don't want to serve tables anymore. I really, I wanted to learn another skill because I got a little taste whenever I was serving. They would let me prepare some dishes. It was a Korean restaurant that I worked at first, and they would let me prepare some dishes. And I always enjoyed it. I enjoyed cooking at home. So I was like, all right, let's see how far I can go with it. And I went as far as I wanted to. I went from being a prep cook, like in a matter of really basically a year. I went from being a prep cook to a sous chef. Mm-hmm. And that's not really easy to do.
Right.
And, with all that, but I did have prior knowledge of, I wasn't a scrub. I didn't really come from nothing, so to speak, but there were a lot of terminologies and things that even to this day, I'll be sitting around with some guys that have cooked for decades, and then they'll say, hey, chef, give me that. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Like, what do you want me to make? Like, I can do it, you know what I mean? Like, tell me what to do, I can do it. But, yeah, there's some parts of that, like, I more so had the title because of how hard I worked. I'll put it like that. There's a lot of guys that are very, like, finesse, like, they're every aspect of it is just it's all perfect, and it's like because you have guys that go to culinary school and they devote their entire lives to it. To me, it was just like, well, I can cook, and I know how to manage people.
Yeah.
So that turned into, I worked at Wine Country, that closed. And then I went to Nashville, worked there for a little while. There's a place called Marsh House, kind of a high-scale deal. I mean, I've probably told you I like the band Queens of the Stone Age. If I haven't, that's my favorite band. Mm-hmm. I did tell you about that. Long story short, we got to cook for them in Nashville. That was really cool. And for me, that was kind of that moment in which I was like, okay, lead singer Queen of the Stone Age was best friends with Anthony Bourdain. Bourdain had just passed away. I'm literally cooking for his best friend.
Right.
And he's digging the food, and I'm just like, I think I'm done cooking. You know, I think I'm probably done. You know? Well, I mean, like in a professional sense, I was just, to me, it was like, I didn't want a Michelin star. I didn't want any accolades. I didn't care about. I never cared about the awards and all that where cooking was concerned. Like sincerely, what I cared about was cooking good food, and whether or not that ever got noticed. You know, I mean, it put it into perspective for me that I'm capable of creating, and it is kind of it. Some people will say it's an art form, and then some people say, well, chefs aren't artists. Whatever you believe about it, I know that me personally, I'm capable of cooking really good food and doing it for people that I actually care about, though. Because, you know, that's the thing that I started running into is like in the customer service aspect of things, you can't really choose. And what I mean customer service, like you have a restaurant where anyone can walk in, right? Mm-hmm. And you get in these situations in which, can we use profanity on this?
Yeah.
Okay. You get in these situations in which you're cooking for people that are complete assholes. Mm-hmm. They're just not nice people. So, you know, that kind of takes a little passion out of it because it's like, okay, well, let me recook this, you know, whatever it is that I know I put it out perfectly, but you want it done this way because you're particular and you're a dick. And, you know, that's the thing is like the guy that owned Wine Country even would tell me though, he's like, hey, they want it that way, we'll do it that way. He had a very calm, and he's a chef himself, and he's actually, that's his knife. That's how much I look up to that dude, and that's how much his wisdom and his name's Jason Brady, how much his wisdom and how much his advice over that time frame meant to me, because I don't believe that I'm the entrepreneur that I am today unless I did have that guidance from him. Mm-hmm. You know, and he had way more of a calm demeanor in the kitchen. Granted, towards the end of things, whenever he's getting out, he's actually a commercial realtor now. But, you know, he'd been doing it for over 20, or he had Wine Country for 15 years. He'd been cooking for over 20. He went to culinary school. He's that guy. He went to culinary school in Charleston, South Carolina. Like, just badass chef. You know what I mean? But he really understood the business aspect of it. So, you know, again, I can be really long-winded on each one of these questions. To wrap all that up, once, you know, what was important to me was fulfilled in that I didn't understand how, and honestly, I'm one of those guys, I'm spiritual, I believe in God, I believe everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that those individuals, I mean, what are the chances of my favorite band and the lead singer, who just so happened to be friends with Anthony Bourdain, who I looked up to so much, coming into the restaurant I was cooking at in a place that is not my hometown that I just moved to within 2 weeks. I'm like, I just did really everything that I wanted to do. Because in the back of my head cooking, I remember thinking like, you know, it'd be badass to cook with Bourdain one day or be able to cook food for him. And like, I never got to do that. Obviously, he died, you know? So it's like, I could cook for his best friend. I was like, man, what the hell? You know, I mean, it's just, to me, I'd done everything I wanted to do. So then getting into media was easy because that was something that I was already doing and I was doing on the side. And I wanted to continue to pursue, but I wanted to see how far I could take both of them together. And what I realized was like, okay, the best way to do this is to go work for someone. So this is when I get to Brent Lattin with Young Pros, who's here in town. And that's the other individual from an entrepreneurial standpoint. Without him and Jason Brady, Brent Lattin and Jason Brady, I believe I probably could have gotten to the point that I'm at now. And not to say that I have every bit of the success that I've accomplished everything I wanted. No, I've not accomplished everything that I wanted. Right. But I would not be at the point that I am now without both of those individuals kind of just being in my ear like, no, dude, you can do, like, because to them, like, if I pitch an idea, well, man, what if I went out on my own? What if I did this? They would always be like, well, of course you can do it. And they weren't, I could tell, though, over time that it was like, they weren't lying to me. They really believed, like, no, you have the personality, you have the work ethic, we know you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, so I remember once I stopped cooking for good, me and Jason actually, and I'd actually already worked for Brent at this point, but I did a little stint cooking actually downtown at the Lot. And
right there?
Yeah, or wherever, I don't know. Yeah, right there. I actually did a little stint over there. I was helping some of my buddies out. And the money was pretty decent. I mean, it was grueling, but I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, I stopped doing this for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I was in a media position, I was in a role for almost 2 years. I worked for Brent, not quite, but I think it was a several months shy of 2 years, but it got me really good at editing. I got really good at shooting, all the above. All the things I was already good at, I got better at. And, of course, I continue to do so because I try to stay current and watch YouTube videos and just, like, stay on top of everything. But, like, I cooked for a little bit, and, man, like, it was grueling enough to me and stressful enough to me to where I was like, I have to go with my move. I have to go out on my own and do what I was doing for Brent. That's what I realized. I was like, and I realized too, I was like, I'm capable of doing that, because that's what Brent always encouraged me to do. And like I'm saying, I went to go shoot with Jason, like guns. We went to the range and we were just, bullshitting. And I remember telling him, like, dude, I think I'm going to join a B&I group. And, I'm going to go hard and do my thing. And he's like, I mean, it's just, with those two guys, it's just amazing to me, the fact that anything like that I've ever said, they've never been apprehensive. They're like, do it. Like, what are you doing? Just do it. You know what I mean? And like that just little amount of confidence, like that's all I really needed. And so yeah, that's how I ended up being where I am today, right now.
That's really cool because that's a lot, because I didn't know you went through so much to be where you are. Like, as far as, like, occupation-wise. Like, doing a cook and then going over to the young professionals group and all of that kind of stuff. But, so then you finally went full-time. You started your own business right out the gates once you did?
Actually, so I'm separated now from my wife. At the time, we had a company in which it was called Ambient Creative, which still exists. She personally does photo and graphic design, but the video aspect of things, that's
all you.
That was all me, and also the photo, I was half of that, but yeah, me and her were doing that together. And then as things kind of transpired, it turned into I just started my own LLC because it was going to work out long term a lot better for me and my ex-wife not to have, which we were going to do. But, we even had a lawyer be like, no, go ahead and start your own LLC. Trust me. Because long term, he's like, you don't want to be attached to, he's like, because both of y'all are most likely to get remarried. He's like, so, if one spouse is mad because you still have a company to get, he's like, just don't. He's like, just start your own LLC. Y'all can still collaborate,
right?
If you want. So, yeah, at first it was with me and her, and then it turned into, once we decided we wanted to split, it turned into me getting my own LLC.
Okay.
So.
And then so you guys still collaborate and do all that stuff together and everything.
Yeah.
That's good.
For sure.
And so with all of the stuff that you've learned today with, like, young professionals, being with your wife or your ex-wife at your old company and everything, what have you found, like, helps you make your business unique in, like, its own way?
Just the design in general. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. You know what I mean? Like, how do I explain
It's
this?
not traditional.
Right. It's not traditional in any way, shape, or form. It's got a Japanese feel to it. Like, because that is literally Japanese wave art. And actually, technically, even when water is still, there's still surface tension. You know, like there's always activity. You know, even if something appears to be still, there's always energy flowing through it. So the mindset with, you know, surface wave is like, I try to capture in my head, it's like I'm capturing like life in and of itself, because my subjects are always living, you know, and even if it's food or something like that, it's prepared by an individual's living, or food was living at one point. You know, that's the thing. Any kind of food, like all of it, it's all like it's a very broad idea that's brought into like one name. When that name hit me, I was like, yeah, like the surface tension on water, or like the surface waves like in the ocean themselves, because like the ocean is always capping. You know, that's why the design and everything looks the way that it is, because it's like it is quite literally it's the fact that I'm capturing life. You know, like you do, you know, a business provides a certain service. Like I take all that really seriously in the fact that it's like, to me, it's not just another check. That's why whenever I consult people too, I'm like, okay, well, what are you working with? Like, we can go as big as you want. We can go as small as you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not cookie cutter in terms of, I can recognize when an individual is really worried about, he's like, dude, I need marketing, but I need you to work with me. You know what I mean? Like, this is how much money I have. It's like, okay, well, we can make it work. You know, I mean, there's obviously a bottom dollar to where I'm like, well, it's not worth it for me. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, like, I cater to those small to medium-sized businesses because I truly believe in enriching the community.
Oh, absolutely.
It's something that not every business can afford. You know, because, I mean, even when I was starting out, I couldn't, you know, like, I could barely afford my B&I dues. I paid them, thankfully, and it's worked tremendously. However, it's like, you know, that expense to me was like, oh, my God, $600 for a year?
Right.
That freaked me out. But, like, I did it. And, I mean, the thing is I know what it feels like to be in that position. I know what it feels like to be in a startup, and you're like, you know, oh my God, like, how am I going to make enough money to pay my bills? You know, and it's scary. But honestly, I think the thing that would set me apart from businesses like mine is that I do cater to those small to medium-sized businesses. And from a philosophical standpoint, I feel like I consider everything that I'm doing to be art. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I really do get the gist of a lot of production companies, to where a lot of the guys they hire, and it's noble. I mean, it's a good job to have, but I noticed that, like, a lot of guys and girls that they hire, they just learned it in college, and they're like, all right, well, it's a job.
Right.
You know, like, I know how to use a camera. Cool.
Right.
You know, there's the creative aspect of things is just kind of like, you know, they're going to give you a decent product, but it's just, their entire livelihood isn't in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not their actual, like, every fiber of their being isn't being put into it. So I think that would be what sets me apart. And the individuals that I use whenever I bring people on jobs, I'm really considerate about, you know, like, what does being a photographer mean to you? Or what does doing video mean to you? Like, what does this process mean to you?
Right.
If it's not something similar, then probably not going to use it. It's not personal. I'm just not going to use that person.
Right.
You know, so. Yeah.
No, I think that's super important, because, like, there's a lot of people who look at not only video, but also just, like, photos, graphics, all of these other things, and they just see it as, like, just an asset for my business.
Right.
Or, like, just, like, a paycheck or whatever. Like, why am I giving you X amount of money for this? Like, it's really just something that I need on my website, or something that I need for a paid ad campaign or something.
Right.
but it's so much more than that. Like,
Right.
it's not like, especially because I don't know if it's just with like I don't want to say our generation, but like a lot of young people look at video, photo, and all these other things way differently that I've met personally.
Well, hit me to that. What do they see it as?
See me?
No, I'm talking about photo and video. You're saying they look at it, they view it differently. Like, what do you mean?
Like, they just see it as so much more than like a commercial.
Oh, kind of like what we're talking about. Okay.
Like, which is
Sweet.
super. I don't know if I'm just like.
I was like, do I sound old? Am I not with the times now? I was like,
no.
like, Josh, that's great, but no one cares. I thought that was the vibe. Okay.
No. But I don't know if it's because I'm just like friends with a lot of creative people, a lot of artsy people who's doing video production, wedding films, all these different things.
Well, you went to school for?
I only went for business admin.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you did you take design classes and stuff?
No.
You just learned that. Okay.
Because I didn't like.
Oh, you a thug, man.
I didn't. Anybody listening from college, I did not like the traditional business courses because it was so like cross your T's, dot your I's. Like, they taught me really good business ethics.
You probably know a lot more than I do about that. This is how I dress for a pitch today, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, because I love that, though, because it's not like you don't have to wear a suit and tie to impress somebody. Like, you really
You have to know
don't.
what you're talking about. I mean, I think I look like I work with a camera for a living.
Which I think is not a bad look.
I think I do. I don't know. My girlfriend said I look like a park ranger earlier. I was like, dang. She takes it there.
In between BNI and meeting like all these different people at Young Professionals and all of these different like projects you've been able to work on with like your event you just had and everything, how has collaboration in the marketing field helped your business?
Well, I mean, it's really like referral based. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's really that's like one of the core values of BNI is givers gain. If I give business to somebody, they're going to want to give business to me, and it goes back and forth, right? So it's like I'm relatively new. I'm not as good as passing referrals as people that have been doing it for a long time, but it does become. I can tell the people that have been doing it for a long time. It's very second nature for them. Like they know the things to listen for. You know what I'm saying? Like they know because they're so acclimated with the way that BNI works, but not only that, just how networking with people works in general, to where they're like, okay, well, let me remember, like, this is a person I trust to do this job. So anytime they hear that in conversation or they see it on social media, they're just like, boom, hey, dude, go talk to this person. Mm-hmm. And, like, that doesn't always work, but it has worked, you know? Like, there's trying to think of one recently that actually happened. There's a woman named Cameron. That's the woman I actually just hooked you up with. Hopefully she'll hit you up. Oh, what's her name? I'm going to shout her out because she's another videographer. But she is extremely pregnant right now. So, her name's her name is Cameron Boudreaux.
Okay.
So, shout out to her because DJ, who's in my group, marketing guy, he is friends with her, who she made a status that said, I'm going to need somebody. Basically, she's going to second shoot her own weddings because she's going to be that pregnant next month. This is happening next month. And like, she's like 6 months pregnant right now.
Okay.
So she's, she just knows that mobility and all that kind of stuff is going to be kind of an issue. She needs somebody to be kind of in the thick of it.
I thought you meant her own wedding, that she was going to film her own wedding.
No. What's cool is like that referral came from DJ being like, hey man, like here's this business. And
right.
Like the lady, like she looked at all the other people that got tagged and she was like, no man, like I'm rocking with you. That was cool. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't always happen like that. But with that being said, the collaboration aspect of things has definitely helped my business a lot because, like, even like I was saying with Jen, like, I went and did that photo shoot with her, and just off the fact that I met Drew Brees, I'm telling you, dude, like, people think like status, it's stupid, but people think about things like in this status kind of way to where they're like, oh, well, dude, he's meeting Drew Brees, so he must be doing something right. It's like, he was just at the banquet, man. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just doing my job, and the guy's at the banquet. I get it. Like, yes, I'm doing my job. I'm doing things, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not doing anything extraordinary. I'm just being consistent. Like, that's really the gist of it. You know, like, to me at least, like, that's just the gist of it. It's like, it's not like me and Drew Brees are best friends now. We just met. You know what I mean? Like, I just met the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. But yeah, if you are consistent and you keep doing your job, essentially, like the things that are required for you to do your job, you're going to get to do cool stuff like that. And honestly, I think that the collaboration, you said in marketing, in the second part of that question is in my own field, correct? That the next one's competition, correct?
Yeah.
So I'll kind of segue into that. The collaboration in terms of marketing is essential for anybody to succeed. Period. If you cannot work with people, like in terms of passing them business, receiving like promoting that word of mouth, well, really building relationships based upon trust. That's number one. But, doing a good job so you continue to be trusted, and then people will, without a doubt, think of you first whenever somebody asks for your type of service. Mm-hmm. That aspect of marketing and collaboration it's essential, and without it, I wouldn't be where I am right now. There's a lot of factors and, that got me to this point, and that's definitely a major one as well. But as far as like competition, it does exist. So competition for sure exists. Now, it also depends on what kind of fish. I hate putting it like that as like clients or fish, but that's a way. But that is a way to think of it. It's like whenever you're marketing yourself, you are fishing. That is what you're doing. Like, you're looking for individuals to use your services, use your business, so you can make money, pay your bills. Now, how good of a job you do, how passionate you are about what you do, all of those things will help you in getting more clients. But, I mean, to me, it's like it's essential to stay current on the techniques of whatever your craft is, and be very thoughtful, be as creative as you possibly can be in terms of what I do. Like, all of those things, really care about what your client's talking about. I mean, there's some clients that I've chosen not to work with because I'm like, I won't say specifically, but I mean, there are some businesses that I find unethical. Though they're legal, I find them unethical. I don't want to work with them. That's just how I am. So with that being said, it depends on the other individuals that own the same kind of companies that you do and do the same kind of things that you do. Like, a good example of, though it is competition, technically, these kinds of individuals will collaborate with you. Like with Clint McCommon at Fairfield. He told me the other day, because he was live streaming, or rather videoing, while I was photoing that banquet, the Air Force banquet. He was videoing it. Mm-hmm. So me and him went back and forth for a while and talked, and he even told me, he's like, man, if we get overwhelmed, he's like, I like to outsource some of the editing projects that we have for guys like you that are it's basically just you. You know what I mean? He's like, there's plenty of business. We can all have some. Mm-hmm. That's a mindset, right? So there are other individuals though that have, and I won't say these people's names because it's going to be kind of derogatory. But there are other individuals that think along the lines of, well, we're just the best, so we don't know why you'd use anybody else, kind of thing. It's just like, those are really the people that you're competing with at the end of the day. Because there's one particular group in which I've gotten multiple of their clients to this point, and they're a pretty big firm. But I've gotten multiple of their clients at this point, and nothing positive to say about for many of those people that now work with me and I work with them, they don't really have anything positive to say about this particular firm. So yes, you are, make no mistake, it is a competition, even if you're friendly, right? Like even if you are willing to help each other, there are going to be some jobs that you might meet in the middle on in terms of, well, they might bid on it because this person has a budget for what they're charging, but I might not charge as much as them. I can still give them something that's just quality, but you know what I'm saying? It's just going to it might take me a little longer to do it. Right. It might take me, you know what I mean? But it's worth it to me still at the same time. So yeah, competition I think competition exists in any field. And the only other comparison that I'll really make, which is extremely relevant, restaurants. Good God.
Yeah.
And there's too many of them here. As far as how many people are here,
there's so many.
The amount of restaurants that we have per square mile is like what? Like it's like every place in this town is like zoned to have a restaurant near it. But anyway, whatever. You understand what I'm talking about though. Like the places that sell plates for $10 to $15, they're all in competition together. Places that sell plates for 20 to 30, 35, whatever, they're all in competition. Like again, they might go, and we've done this plenty of times too, especially when I was at the lot. You'd have like Key Mexico come down there, and they do like pho while we were doing ramen, or they do, you know what I mean? Like we just collaborate, and it's cool. We all make money together, but at the end of the day, y'all still are in competition together if you're priced the same way.
Do you think competition's bad?
No. It makes you better. It makes you want to offer. It makes you like what you asked me earlier. It makes you be more creative and think about the things that actually separate you from your competition. Things that make you unique or make you better or make you whatever. Like, and in a lot of ways too, that's a good thing because then you can look at, well, they do this a lot better than me. I need to learn how to do that. Whatever it may be, whatever aspect of your business it is, you can look at your competition and be like, well, they're getting more business because they're marketing in this way, or they're getting more business because they're doing this in this way. You don't have to necessarily copy them, but you can do something that's comparable to whatever they're doing in order for you to be more successful. So you can look at it. I mean, you can look at it in a negative way, sure. But you've already failed if you begin to look at it in that way. You got to get out of that mindset really quick. Because I've noticed with any kind of, whether it be a hobby or whether it be a sport or whether it be your business or whatever, a job, whatever it is, the quickest way to failure is self-doubt. Honestly, that is the quickest way to failure is if you start to doubt yourself, or you start to be like, well, I can't statements. I can't do this because I can't do this because you're on your way to fail. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm going to give you an example. So for two technology companies, we have Apple and we have Samsung. Do you think there's ever going to be a point in time where, or even like what the consumer, like, one's better than the other, but just because it's Apple and or Samsung, I'm still going to buy it from, like, you know what I mean? Kind of.
Well, you have individuals that prefer, there are aspects of Android, if it's just the old Android Apple argument, it's funny. I liked Windows phones. I liked Windows OS.
What?
I did. I really did. Because I grew up on Windows. I thought it was cool.
Okay.
And I just thought it was kind of sleek, how you could customize them and stuff too. It was very, I thought like the boxes and stuff like that, like kind of the transparent boxes, you could just kind of change the color or change the backplate color and all that. I just thought it was cool, man. Like, and then like I was always a big Xbox guy, so like I could just link it with my Xbox and
okay.
It was cool. You know what I mean? That was a cool little time frame to be alive, man. That didn't last long, but in terms of, between Android or Apple, neither one's really better though. It depends on you. You know, it really does. It depends on you, because I've used Macs. I have Macs. I have all Macs and Apple. That's all I do now. And that's because I like Logic when it comes to like audio and stuff like that. I like Logic, and I can't use Logic on a PC. Mm-hmm. So then that turned into me starting to use Final Cut, which I use Final Cut and Premiere Pro. It just depends on the project.
Right.
But I can use both interchangeably. Like, I'm just as good on either one, just as fast, just as efficient. So I like Apple's programs. I like their operating system. I think that Android and PC have a little less to offer in some ways, because, I mean, as far as like the antiviral software, stuff like that, I mean, you don't have to worry about having antiviral software on a Mac. As long as you're not looking shit up you shouldn't be looking up, you know, but that's not the kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, there are things like whenever you buy a Mac or you buy Apple products, they're a little more expensive, but there are a lot of things that then you don't have to buy that you would have to buy with a PC in addition to it. So it really kind of evens out. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just depends on, like, okay, if I was coding though, yeah, I'm going to be on a PC. If I was somebody that coded for a living, I'll be on a PC.
Absolutely.
You know, that like, it just depends on what you do. If you're solely creative, Apple, just go Apple. That's what I think. And then if you're the type of individual that's more on the technical side of things, like you're an IT person, something like that, Android, PC. Why not?
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, neither of them's really better, I don't think. It just depends on what suits your needs.
Right. So with, like, Samsung and Apple, like, since they're two totally different things, and it really does, like, depend on preference, do you think that they should be competing for the same person, or if they should just be, like, trying to improve their quality of product for the people they know are going to?
Well, you know, maybe they'll hear this podcast and switch up. I'm just playing. No. No, man. So in my opinion, I think that I think they do what they're supposed to do. Both machines do what they're supposed to. If we're talking about phones and computers. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, Apple doesn't sell washing machines.
Right.
You know, so that
Yet.
Well, you think?
I don't know.
Do you know something I don't know?
No, I don't.
Okay, I was like,
but like
an Apple washing machine.
But for sure, like, can you not see it, like, within the next 50 years? Like an Apple car, like, they've just grown so much.
Sony made a car. Did you know that?
See?
Did you know that, though?
No, I didn't.
It's scary.
So, like,
are you really driving, or is it virtual reality?
Well, and then it brings it, like, into the question of this. So, like, you as a videographer, you know you're really great at, like, video. You're dominating the video field. You try one project for, let's say, animation. Are you familiar with animation?
I'm not as good at animation as I need to be now.
Are you going to focus more of your time on that, getting better to potentially serve more clients? Or are you just going to be like, hey, I'm really good at this, I'm going to stay in that field?
Probably outsource. Probably continue to outsource whenever individuals need that kind of thing. I mean, that's a whole nother kettle of fish is what is that a common phrase where you're from? Mm-mm. You know what that means? Mm-mm. It's something we say in the South, that whole nother kettle of fish. Like, that's something completely different. It's something entirely different.
Like a whole new bucket.
That's what y'all say? It's a whole new bucket?
I just put my hand in too many buckets. That's what I always say.
Wow. Minnesota versus Louisiana.
And do you think that's a bad thing that you outsource it?
No, dude, because, like, that's a skill set that's going to take a long... I mean, sure, for my own sake, I think about that a lot, though. It's like, well, if I devoted this much time to... But that's the thing, like, when people go to school for communications, you have people that are they're multimedia specialists, and you do have people that are really good at video and really good at animation. Mm-hmm. But what I notice is like, you in communications in general, you have people that are really good at visual art, and they're really good at graphic design. And they might be pretty good at photography, But once you start getting past 3 major skills, they're
Yeah.
not really great in it because it's just time at that point. Like, how much time do you have to devote to these skills? Like, for me, I think having 3 skill sets in anything, you know, like, as long as they complement one another, you should be able to make money for the rest of your life. I mean, I'm obviously halfway decent at doing photo and video, you know, and then I was decent at that. This is not even a thing, though, at the end of the day. I'm passionate about it, but I know I'm not in terms of food, I mean, I don't do it every day. I don't cook every day anymore. I know I'm not the best at that. But with that being said, do I want that third thing to be animation? I don't know.
Right.
I don't really feel bad about outsourcing it right now, because I know if somebody asked me to do an intricate project on After Effects, I'd be like, it's going to take me a long time.
Right.
You know, like you're going to want a decent turnaround, and I'm not your guy right now because I don't know my way around it that well. But, you know, with client work and everything else that you're trying to balance, it's like, I'm just going to outsource this.
Right.
It just makes sense, you know.
And there's no shame in that, I don't think. Do you think there is?
The only thing, this is what I was going to say, the only thing that bothers me about it, I don't mind outsourcing. It's just that there are, you know, I'll look at something that somebody else does for me and I think, that's cool. I would have loved to have seen this, but I don't know how to, I don't know how to implement it. So I can't tell them, hey man, implement, you know, this effect here. Do like, I don't know how to do it really. So,
right.
Yeah, I can draw a storyboard, but still, even then, that's the thing. I've done that with an animator before. I drew a storyboard, and he pretty much nailed it. But it's just like there's just little things where I'm like, I'd like for that to be different.
Right.
I'm not gonna hassle this guy. It looks good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, it would be cool to have a third, and I think that probably will end up being the third.
No, I totally get that because, like, some video stuff we do here or even, like, social or I don't know if it's just because, like, I'm such a perfectionist and, like, ideally, like, this is how I would have liked it to, like, play out. And then if, like, one little thing is, like, then it's just, like, it's still good. It's still great.
But you're going to notice that little thing.
Yeah.
It's just a little detail.
Right.
But that's what makes, you know what I mean, man? Like, that's what makes you a professional, though. You know? Like, you got to look at it like that, too. You got to, because you can see that kind of thing, you do need to look at it from a standpoint of, okay, this is something that sets me apart from, you know, well, I don't necessarily say your competition, but yeah, exactly. I mean, something that sets you apart from other people that do what you do, because they might not see those little details that you see.
So as far as, like, what would you say is the hardest thing being a solopreneur?
Mentally, the hardest thing, really, I would more so say, like, kind of mentally and emotionally, like, the self-doubt thing. That is something that you can never let set in. It can't stay, those thoughts can't stay there for too long, because then you just, like I said, you're done for. But managing money.
It's literally what he said when he walked in here.
Yeah, I walked in. Yeah, it's kind of like you can have, because that's the thing you got to think about. You can have all these jobs lined up, and you know how much money you're going to make, right? Mm-hmm. So then you think of this mindset, well, I'm going to make this money then. But then it's like, no, dude, you got to save money, because you got to pay taxes. You got to think about it like this. Like, I hate to say it like this, but you really got to think about it along the lines of, within reason, of course. It'd be like, yo, like, this might be the last time I get paid, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, for a while, even if you know you got stuff lined up for the
like
next
kind of scaring yourself in a way.
Yeah, but you can do it in a healthy way. I mean, the healthy way to do it, honestly, is just to you plan the days that you want to go and set a dollar amount. Like, I want to go do this with my significant other, or I want to go do this with my kids or my family on this day, and then that's going to be a day for us to splurge. And then for the rest of the days, these are the reasons that we pay for internet. These are the reasons that we pay. We have game systems. We have, we have paint. We have musical instruments. We have stuff we can occupy ourselves with that don't cost money because we've already invested in them. Right. Enjoy and utilize those things as well, and then set those days to the side. Maybe even if it's just 2, preferably not 3. You don't need to go and splurge 3 days a week because then you will be broke. But 1 to 2 days a week, do something. It doesn't even necessarily, that thing doesn't even necessarily have to cost money though.
Right.
Like when they start seeing success, especially, and then they're like, "Oh, dang, it's kind of hard to manage money."
Right.
Whenever you're not getting a steady, like, how much you're gonna make.
Your paycheck. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be smart about that. Hire a CPA. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, when you get that, like, either a deposit or last payment or whatever the heck, it's just like
we're going to the club, bro.
Like, ooh, we're gonna.
We're finna turn up.
Yep. And then it's like, after you did that, you're like, wow, I just spent like $400 tonight.
Right.
I should not have done that.
Right, but then you can't take it back. That's
right.
You can't do that.
So.
Yeah.
But those are important moments to learn. So what's next for you? Do you have any idea? Do you know what you want to do? Do you want to hire somebody? Do you not? Buy a house? I don't know if you're in a house right now, right?
No. No.
Renting?
Yeah. But I don't know.
What do you want next? How about that?
As far as like a goal, I can't really tell you. I'm not trying to be like whatever, but like I do have something in the works.
Spill the tea.
I can't. Spill the tea. I really can't because it's actually an idea that
may or may not get stolen.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. We'll see.
I respect that.
We'll see if it works. It has to do with my company, but I'll tell you when this is over.
That works.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well. How about personal goals?
Personal goals.
What do you want next?
Probably just buy a house or something. I don't know.
Buy a house?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while. I'm going to have to rent for a while. Because I don't have 1099 like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of mortgage lenders want you to have 2 years 1099. And I'm like, God. I'm like, okay, mortgage lender. There is a mortgage lender in town, though. It's a dude. And I don't think I'm going to use him, though, because he's not my BNI group. But I'm just going to see if the woman in my BNI group, who is my friend, Mikayla Watley, by the way.
She's awesome.
You need a mortgage, Mikayla Watley.
She for real? You
know Kayla like that?
No.
Well, you already knew Dustin Rothell and people like, you knew the Rothells, so I didn't know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, you knew some people in the BNI group. Okay, well, you don't really know Kayla.
No, anyway. She was actually really sweet to me when I first went there. That's why I feel like I can say that. So
yeah, dude, Kayla's awesome. Like
she's awesome.
I need. I probably need, because apparently there's a guy. Like if you write everything off, and we're going to see what happens this next tax season. I have no idea. No clue. I have no idea how that's going to go. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
I'm winging it, I'm having success doing it, but I'm saying like in terms of like the technical side of things, I'm figuring things out as I'm going. But, even if I write a lot of things off, there is apparently a way that you can get approved for a mortgage, but it's by your bank statements.
Oh?
Wild. And then I remember the dude talking about it. It was in a BNI group they're trying to start. It's a new one. And
what?
Yeah, they're trying to start another BNI group. Wait.
No. I'm still stuck on the bank statements
thing.
Right.
Yeah, he said it's really difficult to do, but he can do it. And I was like, okay, Mr. Mortgage Lender.
So if you could give any advice to somebody wanting to start their own business who are either in the field, not in the field, or who's like, damn, I really want to do this, but
Go work for somebody else that does what you want to do for a little while. And I hate to say it like that. Like, that really, though, at the beginning of, I didn't think I could be an entrepreneur until I worked for a guy who was an entrepreneur who's multiple people. I mean, like I'm saying, in the kitchen with Jason, of course. And then when I started working with Brent Lattin at YP, my intention was to stick with YP, to be honest with you. But I will tell you this. It's probably harder to get a job. I'm not telling you to lie, but it is probably hard for most people, because had I told Brent from the beginning, had I known this about myself, I honestly didn't know it about myself. I didn't know that I would want to do it on my own. But had I told him from the jump, he's one of those rare people that he still would have hired me. I know him. He still would have hired me. More often than not, you probably won't get hired on a job if you tell them in an interview, well, what do you see, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you're like, doing what y'all are doing and competing with you. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people can't set the ego part aside. And like,
right.
Brent's great about that. Like, he's just not there's no ego about him. He's just like, yeah, dude, we're all humans. Like, he's just amazing person. But, work in the field that you want to be in, that you want to own a business in. Soak up as much knowledge as you can. I mean, the thing is, like, you really need to look at things from a standpoint of like, okay, I have a skill. The first thing that I need to start a business is a skill, right? So whatever that skill is, or whatever that product or service is, a skill, product, service, or a compilation of all three. Mm-hmm. How good am I at this skill, or how good am I at selling this thing, or how good am I at providing this service? If you don't feel confident in answering one of those three questions, or all three of those questions, then you probably don't need to be in business for yourself at that moment, but continue to work in the field that you want to have, like I said, that you want to have your own business in. And also, what I wish I would have known, try to get a grasp on the marketing aspect of things. I would tell anybody to join a B&I group.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're ready to get out on your own, save up for that. It's close to $700 for the first year. And then after that, I think it's like $550 or $600. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's $675 or something like that.
That first cost, first cost like $675, and then it's under $600.
Which seems like a lot, but
well, yeah, over 12 months, it's not a lot.
Right. When you put it in that aspect, it really is not.
Yeah, because, it's like, think about it, like your cell phone costs more than that. But as far as when you're ready, like skill-wise, when you're ready, join a B&I group. Like, no doubt, join a B&I group. Get to know people, build those relationships based upon trust. And then, man, all you got to do at that point is your job.
Right.
You book meetings. Like, LinkedIn is where it's at. Mm-hmm. Use LinkedIn. Post on LinkedIn every day. Maybe take a day off, like Sunday or something, whatever. Post 6 days a week. Same with Instagram, Facebook. Like our marketing guy says in my B&I group, don't necessarily do TikTok unless you plan on posting 3 or 4 videos a day. That's just how TikTok is. Mm-hmm. But like, be active on social media. That's how you get leads. Like, for real. That's how you get leads. And just look at statistics. Look at the market that you are, the demographic that you're marketing to. Look at you can look up these kind of statistics. Look up how many users between an age are using Instagram on a daily basis. How many users in a certain age bracket are using Facebook? How many are using Snapchat, TikTok, all of them. Like, right. It's, if you have any kind of business, LinkedIn is a must, but then do your research and figure out what the other ones.
Other one needs to be.
Right. And had I understood that from the beginning, I probably would have had more consistent business from the beginning. I'm just to the point now, almost 10 months in which it's like business is consistent. Mm-hmm. It's very consistent at this point, but I had some really scary moments. And the worst, like I said, the worst thing that you can do is doubt yourself. just don't. Like, for me, it's God. If you're an atheist, and it's, try to find, and I'm not knocking anybody for believing whatever they believe, but find some kind of discipline, whether it be spiritual or if it's a martial art, or if it's whatever it is. Like, just find some kind of discipline that whenever you begin to doubt yourself, you can gain that confidence back. Because, like, I can put it like this, because I'm a Christian. We think of things in terms of, like, God provides for us. So if I'm looking at it like, okay, well, I don't think I have enough money, but all my bills, every month that I've been doing this, all my bills have been paid. I've had enough food to eat, which, granted, at some points, there was outside help from that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like I was still provided things that I needed, me and my family needed. I always have been. So it's like
you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. So you have to look at it from a standpoint of, like, you're going, if you trust. For me, it's trusting God, but if it's not God for you, if you trust yourself and trust your ability, for me, it's trusting God, then trusting myself and trusting the ability that He's given me. I know that I will continue to see success because I'm doing the things that I am supposed to be doing. Like, I'm going to my meetings, I'm booking meetings, I'm active on social media. Like, I'm doing, when I do a job, I'm putting everything that I have into it. And as long as you repeat that process, you're gonna see. There's no way you're not going to see success unless we have another global pandemic. So,
No, that's
right.
That's good. So, I have one challenge to that. What would you say to somebody who, like, do you ever find yourself in, like, whether it be, like, you're really sad, you lost somebody, something happened, like, either traumatic in your life or something's going on in your life where you feel like you can't be in that creative mindset, and how do you deal with that? Because I feel like a lot of people who are going through life have different seasons of their life where they're either going through something happened, or blah, 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 blah. And I am a very firm believer that as a creative person, you have a really hard time doing your job if you're not okay up here. Mm-hmm. And how do you get through that?
Well, really and truly with that, I can remember one shoot in particular. I can't remember what was going on, but I remember how I felt. When you have that amount of stress in you, or you have that amount of worry, or you have that amount of sadness, whatever it may be, usually all three of them hit me at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's, you practice the fundamentals. That's really, and that's what I was talking about with learning your skill and becoming, getting comfortable in your skill to the point where you feel like you can do it on your own, where you don't have to look at a superior, because there is no superior if it's your own business, right? Right. So that's the thing, like, we don't have to look at a superior and be like, am I doing this right? If you're to the point in which everything is second nature to you, focus on only the fundamentals. I need this shot. Like, if I'm videoing and I'm in that kind of headspace, it's like, I know I need this shot because the overall, and even if, like, that's why I write scripts, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I have storyboards. That's why I write everything out for my clients. And I'm like, some people will tell me, well, we just want you to be creative on your own. Or, like, we believe in you, do what you got to do. Then I just have in my notes exactly how I want things to go. And I might improv on them sometimes. And I'm probably more likely to improv whenever I'm in my best mood. Mm-hmm. But I know that even on my worst days, because I write everything down and because I do practice those fundamentals, it's going to be a great quality product no matter what. So whatever you do, granted, there are things that, like when I was cooking, though, like when my grandfather died in the middle of a shift, I remember Jason telling me, I point to the knife every time I talk about him. I remember Jason telling me, I was trying to stay. I remember Jason looking at me and he's like, what the hell is wrong? He's like, go. He's like, well, he's like, I'll cook on the line if I have to. Like, don't worry about it, dude. You know what I mean? Like, but I remember even in that mindset though, that's immediately what happened. I was just looking at my tickets and doing the fundamentals of cooking. I wasn't talking to anybody else. Wasn't doing it. I wasn't jovial, but I was just like, my mind just goes to the task. Mm-hmm. So if you can just focus on, again, your fundamentals, then you can get through times like that. You'll always be able to get through times like that. But in order to keep yourself okay up here, whether it be therapy, like literal counseling, again, a workout routine, a martial art, a hobby, whatever it is, or a compilation of all those things would probably be the most healthy. Mm-hmm. Practice those self-help things. If you practice self-help in the good times, you'll be able to weather the bad times a whole hell of a lot better.
I think that's it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you coming here, and I think you gave a lot of really good advice, not only to our wonderful audience, but personally, because I'm going through a lot of these different emotions too. So
Gotcha.
It's been great. And what are your @s for people who want to follow you or find you on social media? Yeah, because we put it out on Spotify too.
Okay, then. So it's at Surface, SURFACE, Wave, WAVE, Media, MEDIA, at Surface Wave Media. That will be on Instagram. On Facebook, it's at Surface Wave Media LLC. Same thing, but LLC. And yeah, I mean that's it, guys.
Or people who want to follow you on LinkedIn?
Josh Warren, owner of Surface Wave Media LLC. Josh Warren is spelled JOSHWARREN.
But I think that's it, you guys. And thank you guys so much for tuning into the Young Creatives podcast. If you guys want to tune in next week, feel free to. We have a very special guest coming next week, which you will see